Hi everybody, it's me, Rena. It's Wednesday, I believe, the 23rd, and I'm writing this because some people have expressed that to me. Karen, actually yesterday, wrote me, and she said she was confused about my rundown of what happened, like especially about Hunter and about Summer, what happened with Hunter and how the accident happened, and this one and that one. And she was bringing other people into it and stuff like that. And she didn't understand. It was a long, very long paragraph. So I thought, well, instead of like trying to answer all her questions um, in one, I'm gonna turn my computer on to give me some light here, answering all her questions, I would try to explain it um, in a video. So I'm going to try to explain it as best I can in a video, um, another video, to make it a little clearer what I think happened and how the whole thing came about with Summer. Because people seem confused, and the thing of it is, the reason people are, I think, are very confused about this whole case, which is, oh my God, it's like a spider's web. It's like gotten so many little twists, and all these people. Where are all these people coming from? I mean, they keep popping, and now it's the phone. I mean, if there is a phone, which I guess there is, I guess it's from Tim Mullins, and he was supposedly lurking around. He's now the family spokesperson or something. Now I don't pay attention to these people. I just go with what Summer told me, what she tells me, and what my spirit guides tell me. I don't add people. I'm not an opinion channel. I put things together. I've added a little bit of like connecting the glue thing to my things. I'm not an opinion channel. I don't say, well, this is what I think. I think that blah 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 blah. I wouldn't do that because I could be slandering somebody in my opinion and I could be completely off. And when I found out I was completely off, I would feel absolutely horrible. And I don't want to do that. I have opinions, plenty of them, but Summer and other cases like this, I mean, I have opinions about Brian Laundrie, and because of what, like, that he's still alive, because I know he's still alive, because I've had visions, and I'm more, I'm very clear about what I saw happen and what Gabby showed me and the visions I had, that he is still alive. And his parents helped him get away. And he also murdered those two women, Kylan and Crystal. And he faked his own death, and he had a lot of help. And he got away. But I don't know if he got away for good. The visions were just too clear. So that's my opinion. Now, I guess this is my opinion too, and whatever I say, because like in the Michael Vaughn case, I know what I saw and I felt, but it wasn't a lot of information, so it's my opinion based on my visions. So it's not really a fully an opinion channel. And when people come on and they're like, well, my opinion is this and that and this and that, and that, I'm thinking, where are you getting your information from? Now, what I like is when people, there's a couple very good channels out there, they give informational, they have informational channels. And I can't, like Emma is very good about that. And also there's another lady with long dark hair. She's very good. And also Tend to Life. She gives a lot of information. You can tell they've done a lot of work. So I can understand how they can ask for money, and they Patreon or whatever they ask for donations, and they deserve it because they've done their homework. But mine is, and I don't like really chat because I sometimes watch chat because it's like, oh, hi, so and so, hi, so and so, on and on and on and on. And pass the coffee and hi, it's like too much. I'd rather listen to the informational channels to get information. I'm curious about this phone thing. I guess we'll just have to wait. I heard it from somebody on my site who told me about the phone that, more to come. I think it was Leslie. And hi, everybody, by the way. I'm sorry. I didn't say hi, how are you? I was just reading the news and the summer things, and I was getting really annoyed with Benny Keys, and I was thinking, oh my God, they're fighting again, and the the Tim Mullins thing, and I was thinking, who the hell are these other people? Like, it was just kind of, that's why I don't watch them. So, but anyway, so I am a psychic channel. I don't post unless I have psychic information, or I do numerology or dream interpretation or add something new that I can teach. And, something like that. My opinion comes with my vision, and my interpretations come with what I know from my visions. And I know I put some really kooky sounding visions up yesterday, but I've further interpreted the one I had yesterday about the dancing skeleton, and I've gotten a little further on that one. And I think I understand it better than I did yesterday. It sounded a little weird. I know the visions sound weird, but they're just symbols. A lot of times they're symbols, and I know my symbols, and I feel the symbols. And so anyway, I'm a medium. I've been a medium. I grew up with New Age, as most of you know. My family's from Eastern Europe, Northeastern Europe, and we just grew up with it. We taught each other. My mother, my sister, and I. My mother family came from Eastern Europe after Second World War, and most of them settled, either they moved into Western Germany, or they went to Canada, but we came to the Philadelphia area. So it was just my mother, my sister, and I, the three witches. And we taught ourselves, and I just kept it up. And my mother did too, but my sister kind of let it go. But my kids are gifted. They were very gifted, especially my son. But I don't. It scared them a little bit, but I'm not scared. I've adapted my skills. I've developed my skills. I've I've become very good at it, and it's like going to college. It's like you learn it. You have to keep doing it. It changes. You might become good at one thing and lose another ability. And it keeps changing and evolving. And I've only actually been able to talk to the dead for about 14 years. Started in this house with my husband's father, who died the year before, and his son, who died 2 years before. That's how it started. I've always been able to talk to spirits but actual people. That's when it started. But with Summer, I started being interested in the case. I'd never done true crime before, crime. I'd actually gotten things from crimes that had happened around the world, or suspicious things, plane crashes that I had nothing to do with. But anyway, I was always able to do that, and you know all kinds of things. But the first thing with Summer was I did a reading of her before I even got into it, of her situation, her family. Like, where's, And I could not believe it. It was the worst reading I have ever done in my life. Her family was like toxic. There were secrets. There was backstabbing. There were lies. There was deceptions. It was horrible. And I said, I wrote this, I wrote to TBI, and I didn't say who I was or anything, but, I kind of, it was just like jam packed with, oh my God. And I said, if you want to find Summer, check into the family. I said, this family is full of dirt, secrets, lies, deceptions. I said, check for missing people, check for people who have mysteriously disappeared, who've been murdered. This is on one of my earlier, probably my first post about Summer, if you want to look at it. It was so accurate. And I said, they're going to put but I said, they're going to put a brick wall. They're not going to let you in. But there is so much the family is hiding. They're so full of dirt and old skeletons in the closet and this and that. But anyway, so I wrote, it was absolutely so accurate. I couldn't believe it. And then a few nights later, I had a vision where everything was black and gray, and I saw this little candle in the darkness, and I knew there was a little hand holding the candle, and I knew it was Summer. And that was our first connection, and I knew she would be connecting after that. And it took a while. It took weeks where she would get comfortable with me. I didn't ask her anything like what happened or anything like that. I let her get comfortable with me. She was in our house. She moved things around. She was funny. She did funny things and strange things, and I could feel her. I could feel her presence, and I could feel her when we went to the beach. When I was out in the water, I could feel her little arms around my neck, holding on. I knew she really enjoyed that, but I couldn't feel her on the beach. I just felt her when I was out in the water, and I would talk to her. I wasn't near anybody, and I'm not a great swimmer. I was still, my feet on the bottom, but I could feel her around my neck. I could see her behind me like a ghost. And she even showed me these pictures later. Like I said, "Where are you?" And she showed me pictures of the beach. And it took a while to gain her trust, I think. And then, well, this is how the story um, kind of started. Like we had to get to know each other first. She was with me in the garden. She was with me in the house. Things were moved in the house, and my husband said, "I said, why'd you do that?" And she said, "I didn't do anything." And I said, "You didn't move that. You didn't take that. You didn't take that out of the oven." And he's like, "No, Rhonda, I didn't." And I'm like, I said, "I guess we have a little visitor in the house." And also I started to feel what was going on in her head, like her feelings, like I could sense what she was feeling. And we became kind of connected. So that was how I started off with Summer. And then she started to show me things and tell me things. And she never told me anything about SA, ever. She never told me anything about being hit or abused, even though you could look at the house and assume this, but she never told me that stuff. Um, but when she started telling me about, I knew, I knew when I look at the house, I can see the house, and I knew Don or Candace had done something to her. And I was becoming more familiar with her surroundings, her area. She was becoming more familiar with me, and I was feeling her more. I could feel her presence. I could feel her anxiety, her agitation. I could see her running back and forth, like she was agitated. And I could tell when she was agitated because it would be like static. And she said, the noise hurt her ears, like the static. And when Facebook started to explode with her story, she said, it hurts my ears. It's like static. And like people were, genuinely concerned about her, but it hurt her ears because it was too much. And she didn't understand why, my dog back there, why all the fuss. But anyway, so I could see the house and I knew that one of them had done something to her. And I didn't know which one. And I asked her which one, tell me, show me somehow which one did it. And she showed me in 3 different ways which one of them did it. And it was very clever the way she did it. But I won't go into it. It's in my videos. She showed me 3 different ways of which one did it, and it was Dawn. And okay, first, the actual what happened was there was nothing to do with the church. She never said anybody hurt her at the church or nothing with the church. So church is out. She was sitting in the basement. She showed me this was after a couple months. She showed me herself sitting in the basement and she was looking to the back door. And there was so much stuff that happened before that, so much we shared, she showed me, but this is just the actual act, what happened. This is what I think people are asking me about, want to know, because all these other people that everybody's adding had nothing to do with it, as far as what Summer has told me. It was just the people at the beginning that these additions are just add-ons. They're not, just because you can't prove that Don did anything, it doesn't mean you need to add 10 more people. So anyway, David Dotson, satanic rituals, child trafficking, no, nothing like that. I'm sure Don abused her, but she never mentioned anything about that. I know Candace was a horrible mother, but she didn't really mention that. I think she still loved them, but the thing that she wanted the most was justice. That was the feeling that she gave off the most. She accused them. She pointed her finger at them. She took me to the courtroom a couple times, pointed her finger at them, and she wanted justice. She knew they were her parents, but that's what she wanted. She took me to the courtroom 3 times, actually. Once almost to the courtroom, twice inside the courtroom, and the charges were being read against Don and Candace. They were sitting in the front row of the courthouse, and they didn't have anything in front of them. They were just in the front bench, and the judge was behind, and she was standing there, and she pointed her finger. And then one time she did a sing-songy thing like, innocence over guilt, guilt over innocence. Will they plead guilty to each other? It was kind of sing-songy. And then she said it again. I remembered it because I woke up and wrote it down. But anyway, so she was sitting in the basement looking out the back door, and I was kind of like right behind her because lots of times I could see through her eyes, or I was like right behind her. And Don was at the back door, and he was like rattling the doorknob, and he was angry. It was during the day, and she was down there by herself, and she was scared, and she knew if she ran upstairs, he'd catch her because it's not that there's not that much space. Excuse me. Anyway, so the next thing I saw was, I mean, he was really furious. He was banging on the door, rattling. She had locked him out. And apparently, you could lock the door from inside and outside. I don't know if you could, but I think later on I found out you could. You could lock it from both sides. Anyway, so she showed me a pistol, and it was hanging, it was kind of suspended in the air. And it was like an old fashioned type antique pistol. It was rounded at the top, like the kind you see in the cowboy movies. And it had wood and brass and metal on it. And it was suspended in the air, and it was kind of like the light was shining on it. And I really, I hadn't seen one of those in a long time. I'm not into guns or anything, but the last I used to have a 22 and a 45, but this was an old fashioned one. Anyway, so she showed me that, and then all of a sudden I saw a picture of Dawn and Candace looking at the ground, the cement in the basement. And I knew Summer had fallen. There had been an accident. Dawn had shot Summer. And it was an accident. And they were both looking down at her, horrified. I knew she had hit her head. And Candace said something like, "Do you not see how much she's bleeding?" And Dawn said, "I think I killed her." And then the next scene I saw was Candace. At first I saw someone's lower half, like capris, someone with capris on, and someone's lower body. And I knew it was Summer's blood. But first I thought it was Summer, but then I thought, no, this person is way too big to be a little tiny Summer. And I realized it was Candace. And it looked like maybe Candace had been holding Summer in her lap, and it was Summer's blood. It was not a lot of blood, like it was kind of like mottled. And so I also had a vision around the same time. I was lying on my bed and I felt spirit come over me. And I knew it was little Summer, and she came up to me and she kind of snuggled, and I concentrated, and I felt a sharp stabbing pain in my abdomen. And again, I saw the pistol, and it was in my abdomen, and it was very uncomfortable, and I had to roll over, and it lasted for a while. And I tried to, inhale, because when there's spirit, I try to breathe it in, meditate, like, breathe real slow, try to get as much of the information I can. I realized she'd been shot in the abdomen, and it was a serious wound. And I finally came out of it. I woke up, and her spirit left, and I realized that I looked at and then at one point, I was at the pool, the swimming hole, at the pool, the picture of the swimming hole. I did not see grandmom out in the water or near the shore or anything like that. I knew that nothing happened at the swimming hole because there was nothing going on at all. So everybody was saying, "Oh my God, she dry drowned, she dry drowned." Well, no, not according to Summer. Nothing happened there. She didn't slip. She may have slipped a little bit, and her hunter might have helped her or whatever. And grandma was either in the car or she was at the hospital, but she was not, nothing happened there. So and then I heard in my head, I heard Hunter say, "Did he get rid of the gun?" And Allie said, "Yes." And it was very clear. It was both their voices. And I know they did that video where Summer was on the milk jugs and she was wearing the little, the little suit. And she looked like she had a stain, looked like a stain under that. And I didn't even notice it at first until somebody pointed it out. And she didn't look good. And everybody was going back and forth, whether she was dead or alive. And so this is what I surmised happened. Because Hunter knew about the gun. So I think happened. Now, this is where I'm kind of surmising a little bit. I think they came home, they ran their errands, they picked up grandma, everything was fine until they got home. Don was waiting for them when they got home. They probably dropped Hunter off at his house. Candace drove grandma and Summer home because grandma was with them. They dropped her off in her camper. They dropped the groceries off, whatever. Summer went down the basement. Don was home. He might have been drunk or crazy or, in that house. And that's when the accident happened because it was daytime. And this would have been daytime. And he might have been mad at Candace for hanging out with Hunter or whatever, but he went kind of crazy. And Summer got in the way and he shot her. He might have been aiming for Candace. But I think that they had to come up with a plan because Summer was in trouble. They either had to take her to the hospital and admit that he accidentally shot her. And of course, with his record, he would have gone to jail. So they had to come up with a story. So I think Candace, since Hunter knew about the gun, called Hunter and said, I need your help. I need your help. I'm going to pick you up. So they wrapped Summer up with bandages or whatever, and they put her in her new suit, her kindergarten suit. That's where they changed her at home. But they couldn't stop the blood from coming through the suit. They packed her back up in the car with the milk jugs, the grandma's truck. Candace drove back to Hunter's house, picked him up, turned around at the pool without Allie knowing it. I don't think Allie knew yet. And it was Hunter in the front seat who took the video. That was not Grandma's voice. Took the video and he said, is her arm still up? And Candace said, no. And because her arm was so stuck between the milk jugs, they put her there, they propped her up. She was unconscious. Her nails were getting bluish. She was probably in shock. She didn't look good. I mean, there was something, I had 3 children. I work with special ed children. I'm a CNA, an MA, a registered medical assistant. I know something's not right. They propped her up, plus she was kind of like, she made dents in the milk jug. I mean, there was no way her arm was like that. It would have been in front. It wouldn't have been squished back there. And she was all way out of the seatbelt. It looked like somebody just threw her in there and just slammed them. There was no way there could have been Grandma in that car, in that truck. There was no room for Hunter to be in that truck because she was in the middle seatbelt, Summer. He's a big kid, and Grandma would have been sitting in the front seat. And then where was Hunter going to sit? I mean, there wasn't any room. And so anyway, so they took a video to show that she was fine coming home from the swimming pool, but actually it was the second time they came home from the swimming hole. It was a staged shot to show that she was fine, so they could go with the abduction theory. And I hope everybody gets that because I've tried to explain this, but this makes sense to me. That she has the spot, she doesn't look good. Why is she propped up against the milk jugs? The thing in the back of the truck, the cooler, has absolutely nothing to do with anything. So they drove her back. She dropped Hunter off at Allie's house. Um, Hunter got out. Allie might have wanted to see her, like she said, but Candace said, no, I don't have time. I don't have time. Because she didn't want to explain it to her. And Hunter went in the house. And of course, he told his mother. And then his grandmother. And then his great grandmother knew too. The three of them knew. They all knew, but they needed to protect Hunter. And like I said, I drew cards, and it was like three women. And they all knew, but they needed to protect Hunter. And that's why he's not living there anymore either, because he's in a mental brain fog because of what happened. And he might have thought he was okay at first, but anyway, so they dropped him off. Allie might have wanted to see Summer, but Candace just sped off. She already contacted Don, told him what happened. They got back to the house, that maybe a little bit up the driveway, switched cars, put her in another car somewhere, or maybe kept her in the same car. I don't know, truck. And he took her because I saw that's where the dogs lost the scent at the end of the driveway, according to TBI. Because she never got out of that truck where she was transferred to another truck with tarps and everything like that. And she was not dead. Because she told me, I said, how did you die? And she said, I drowned. So she wasn't dead yet. She was on the verge of death, and they could have saved her by taking her to the hospital, but they didn't. So Hunter was back at home. Candace either switched trucks with Don because he needed a four-wheel drive to get into his property. He didn't go through his property to put her. He went from, because I was in like a car. I saw this from a vision, that him driving up like Beach Creek Road, and I saw the trees that turned onto Ben Hill, where you can make a right, but you can't see that from Google Maps. You have to see it from Google Earth. And I didn't even know it was there until I went on Google Earth, because I couldn't understand, like, well, why can you go? But when I saw it on Google Earth, I realized Ben Hill turned around, but you couldn't see it because there's trees. And he did make a right. I thought he might have made a right on Beach Creek, and but it's all guardrail there. And I thought, well, how did that happen? But then I saw Earth. I realized you could turn right on Ben Hill, and there were no guardrails. It was perfect, and because I could see the tops of the trees. And I thought, he drove her in. I knew it was the northwest part of the property, and he drove her in there, and then he took her. I guess he carried her, and he put her somewhere near. I know she ended up in that well. There was a homestead up there, and I saw the homestead. Um, there was a rail cart, some rails that weren't used for railroad. They were just used for transport, like the rail cart would transport from the mine. Somebody said there was, I don't know, there was mining in the area, and it could have been a mine or used to transport wood, like a big old rail cart. I saw it in vision. It was all rusty. I even touched it. I was that close to it. I could see the chips of rust on it. And I saw this well. And several times she showed me this well. And I saw like an old bridge that was like, it had some graffiti on it, but it was like crumbling down like a horse or walk bridge. It was old. And I saw the rail tracks where they used for roll rail cart, like a push up rail cart. I saw the stream. It was like if you started at the stream, if you followed the stream, which I know is pretty treacherous, but there would be an old homestead there. And if you'd have to look hard because the well might be pretty worn down, or he might have knocked down like the top bricks on it to like camouflage it more. And in the summertime, it might have been impossible to see, but in the fall, it would have been easier. So I saw these things, and I saw an old fireplace. Um, what else did I see? I saw the bridge. I saw the well, and I know he killed the dog. He killed her dog, because it was making too much fuss, and I saw that. And then he finished what he had to do, and he probably poured lime or whatever on top. But I I don't know if you put her there first or you put her somewhere else first and buried her, because the in the last search, the on the scanner, somebody picked up, if somebody has that video, and I've asked, the video, somebody said the police picked up, they picked up the police scanner on their ham radio, somebody, and they heard the police say they found something, and they weren't going to release it to the public because it looked like somebody might have unearthed the body there. And so I don't think it was with the well, because it would have taken a lot to get a body up from a well, because she would have had to have been attached in a box or something to a rope, and you could have pulled the rope up, and it would have been her final resting place. It would have been somewhere else first. So it might have been near the well. Because she's shown me that hill many times. I've seen it, and I've seen her up there where she's at peace, where she's standing among the wildflowers, and she's a ghost. And one time we went up there, and I saw her among the wildflowers, and it was in the fall. And I said, "Do you want to show me, Summer, where your body is?" And she said, "No." She said, "It doesn't matter because I'm not there anymore." And I started to cry because I realized, I might not see her much anymore. But I was happy that, she'd been found. I know she's going to be found. And there were other things too that I know she's going to be found. And when I know they found something in that search, I know they found something. And I've also seen, Candace falling apart. I saw Don's arrest months before it happened, and I forgot about the hearing and everything, but that's how I believe it happened. I don't believe it had to do with Benny Keys, or it was an accident. It was a homegrown disaster waiting to happen accident, and it was it had to be a powder pistol, because I later found out that Don was only allowed to have a black powder pistol because of his previous violations. Now, I think you'd think that they would have taken away his gun in late fall 2020, his powder pistol, because it was involved in the incident with the domestic abuse incident. But he could have had another one. Um, but I didn't know about powder pistols, and this is the kind of gun I saw. And also, there were a lot of other things that I didn't know, and I found out that Summer had told me. So that's why I believe Summer. I go with what Summer tells me, and I pass it on, because what she wants from me. She wants me to tell her story, and that's what I've been doing. I'm not charging this channel. I'm not charging for anything, because how could I charge? This is a little spirit who came to me for help. I'm not going to charge anything. I want to get her story out there. I want her to be at peace. I want her to be found. That's why I have this channel and why I've lost endless sleep about it and cried endless tears because I want her to be found. And it's not a sideshow. My channel is not a sideshow. And I get mad at these people who are making it into a sideshow. And all these other people, these characters, her mother, her parents are trash, and her father needs to be in jail. And Candace is, according to what I've been shown, is actually, it may not look, you may not believe it, but she is falling apart. The last vision I had of Candace, the one, the strange one where the skeleton, the old-fashioned skeleton that we used to see as kids with black and white, and it was kind of like dancing around. It didn't have any joints. It just kind of danced around. It was, and suddenly it was in a cage. It had been like captured in a cage. It was like one of these cages like this, like the old-fashioned cages, medieval cages. I don't know. And there was next to it, there was a, it was underwater, murky. I mean, it's emotional things. Murky underwater. It's bad emotional feelings, depression. Water is always emotional, and the kind of water is especially important. It shows that she's going through some really, really murky stuff, and the alcohol is probably the only thing that's saving her from, you know, anyway. And there was a submarine, an old submarine, and it had a torpedo in front of it. And I could only see like the front half of it, or the front like third of it. And that was what had got the skeleton into the cage. So skeleton had been shot into the cage. And that was like, okay, now the skeleton's in the cage. And the murky water I remember seeing, and everything was murky and weird looking. And then the words, uh, strange human remains. That was said a couple times. How strange human remains. And that's what, you know, we're like waiting on. Like that's the whole thing. It's strange how strange human remains was being said in my head, you know. And then this all happened within like 10 minutes after they woke me up and I was writing it down. And then the song Blue Water, again, water came, was floating around in my head, a Stevie Nicks song. It's a pretty song, but it was about water, again, emotional. And then I saw a picture of the well, and it was half full with water, and I saw the water coming down the mountain from the stream, and it was half, the well was half full with water. And I knew the water would eventually come out over the top of the well. And that meant it would just, she's about to just lose it. It looks like she's headed for some kind of a breakdown, including this, all, the whole thing means emotional breakdown. Bad, including the vision I had about sitting across the table from this woman who just kept going on and on and on. And the man was with her, but he couldn't speak because Don can't speak. He's in jail. And she was just like going on with her story. Like, this is the story I'm sticking to. Like she's always done. Like, I'm not changing. I'm not deviating. This is the story. And it's a lie, but it's what I'm sticking to. And she had this weird hump on her back and she was all deformed. That the whole thing is deformed. And the water just rising in the well is like, shows that. And I asked her one question, one legitimate question, and she cracked. So one thing is going to happen, and she's going to crack. It's going to be her. And that's what the visions told me. One thing is going to happen, and she's going to lose it. I don't know what it is. Maybe they're going to bring her in for questioning. Something's going to happen with maybe Allison, because Allison was in the picture too, from the pictures that Summer told me. The moon. And there's always this picture of the moon, like dark at night, like that Summer shows me. She showed me the moon, and she showed me like a picture of the sky and the stars. And it's like I see moonlight on the earth around the ground. Like um she showed me this, like, and when I heard about a long time ago, I heard the police scanners go off and somebody said human remains found, bring the grandmother home. It was at night, and I could see the moonlight, and I could hear the crackle of the static of the radio. It was moon. It was at nighttime, and I don't quite know what that means. Um, about the moon and the nighttime, and like finding something at night. Not really sure, but I don't really know. But she did show me like Allison's name, and then the 5 1s, and then the 27th. Nothing happened on the 27th because they didn't even come for the last search till I think the 1st of March. So it wasn't that 27th. So it could be this 27th, because I said 27th, and she said, "Yep, very loud." And so and it was fall. It was, the leaves were still on the ground when she was found. So it's like putting all these pieces together. She gives me all these little puzzle pieces, and I have to put them together. And so I'm doing my best. Uh, you know, Let me see, I haven't gone loony up to this point. But anyway, so Candace is gonna break over something. Something's gonna crack, make her crack. And she's keeping up this face for the world, this story, and something will make her snap. And maybe Don will snitch on her. Maybe he'll say it's not fair that I'm in prison, and she'll snap. And she will be found. She will be found. I know that. I've seen her at peace. And so anyway, that's all I have to say. I think that's enough. My throat's sore, and I'm gonna go lay down. Anyway, I hope I explained it okay. And yes, Hunter had something to do with it. He helped cover up crime. Yes, he is going through trauma. Yes, Allie knows about it. Yes, if they're Allie and her husband are going after Candace for SA and alcohol and vapes and all this stuff, maybe that's the thing that'll make Candace snap. I don't really know. I have to wait for more information. Luckily, I got a good night's sleep last night because, if it goes on too many nights in a row, I don't sleep that well. Like the night before was when I got the indications. And so moon, and then the dark scape, and it's like they found her in the moonlight. It was kind of like a moonlight, but I don't see how they would search in the moonlight. So it was like they almost, and when I see in the investigation that they dug something up when the moonlight was on, when it's shining. So I don't really know. So I have to wait and see. So, okay, I love you all, and I hope this helped explain it a little more. And no, I don't believe anybody else was involved. Some people may know something. I know the three mother and grandmothers know. I know grandmom knows. I know Dawn, Candace, of course, are involved. Candace helped cover it up. No, she didn't have anything to do with it, but she didn't help either. So she's guilty. She's a bad mother. She's a deplorable mother. Everybody's trying to cover each other's butt. Everybody's trying to cover up for each other. Who's covering up for Summer? Who cared about little Summer? Did anyone try to help her? Lots of people saw this happening. They say, oh, we called CPS, blah, 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 blah. Well, obviously they didn't call enough because that child shouldn't have been in that house. That poor little girl. I mean, she was all by herself, defenseless. It breaks our hearts. But, and I have written Sheriff Lawson, believe me. I don't know how many times, and TBI I've given up on, and so I'm just praying for little Summer. Her terrarium is starting to clear out a little bit. Little turtle. So, anyway, hopefully soon, so she can have some peace. There's a little Noah's Ark without the lid on it. I love you, Summer. I'm not going to give up on you. I've never given up on you. Never. And you be with me till they find you, and you can come and talk to me and tell me whatever you need to tell me. And I'll spread your story. And there's lots of people that love you, and I'll always love you. Okay, bye.